matters. The only thing that counts.
We call this comprehensible.
Comprehensible.
Learning is conscious. Acquisition is subconscious or
And we
unconscious.
acquire language in only one way, when we understand it. Most people call that comprehensible input.
Okay. I understand. Comprehensible input is such a big thing in language learning communities, and there are a lot of promoters and people who disagree with this method, but I don't care. I will just try it out for myself, and I'm also curious how many hours do I need to feel a difference, if maybe it's just 24 hours enough. So I will try out this challenge 24 hours in 3 days of Korean comprehensible input, and if you are curious about the results, then join me to these 3 days. And if you have also the same problem like me and you do not find comprehensible input for your beginner state in Korean, then maybe I have found a few nice channels on YouTube for you. So continue watching.
저는 친구들을 만날 때
It's a bit complicated to measure how I improve my listening comprehension or general my speaking after 3 days of comprehensible input, but I try to have one video on Talk to Me in Korean, also listening comprehension, and I try if I see any progress from today to in 3 days. I will test my listening comprehension with this video. It's from Minjin Teaches Korean and Test Your Korean Listening Skills as one paragraph. And yeah, it's leveled from level 4 to level 1, and I will see which level I will get. So that was level 3. I understand a bit more, but I didn't understand everything. So I will keep going for level 2. I have done now this video with this leveling for listening comprehension, and I think I'm between level 1 and 2. I understand well the words in level 2, but sometimes I didn't remember what it means. So I need to learn more vocabulary, and yeah, I will now test also on Talk to Me in Korean a few videos so that I have a feeling how it is now in the moment. I will show you. Yeah, Talk to Me in Korean, there's a real Korean conversation explained. It's not really for testing, but yeah, you can test it on your own, that you have few videos about real situations, and yeah, one of them is a convenience store situation. Yeah, I think I have really a lot of opportunity to improve.
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
And yeah, so I show you with what I will start my comprehensible input challenge. First of all, what is comprehensible input? I did the mistake that I understood it wrong. I have watched a lot of videos, I have heard a lot of podcasts, and I was thinking that I have effectively learned and had input and that will work in the end. But during this research about the topic, I found the linguistic researcher Stephen Krashen, and he has introduced this hypotheses about acquisition learning and input. And one of the key points in this method is that you understand 70% of the content, that you will choose content that is a bit higher than your level, but not too high. And I have chosen content that was too high. I didn't understand anything and just listened to it, and I hoped that this passively will go in my head. But yeah, that's not the method and it will not work. So do not make the same mistake like I. And I think that's also the most challenging part of this challenge, because the key point is that you have to find this content in your level, and also that this content has to be interesting for you. And that is my most challenging point, to find this content. So I wanted to start my 8 hours comprehensive input for today with the most easiest things I could find. Here's one of Storytime in Korean. It's really a nice channel. She has such a lovely voice, I can say. And yeah, I have here a short playlist. I think 25 minutes I can fill, and I will see it maybe more in repeat. And I also want to see it with subtitles in Korean, but yeah, it's more efficient to have it with subtitles. I have seen a study. Yeah, and I will try it with this one first. With this language relator plugin, I have also translations here and there, and you have also this feature that it stops after every sentence, and yeah, I think it's more efficient to do it like this. I watched the first 15 minutes of this video, and I watched this continuously without pause, and I didn't understand very well. So I will now watch it again, and I will pause every sentence. And I try to understand it without looking into translation and just with the context. And yeah, then I will see if I understand this better after the second. And if I don't understand it, then I will watch it the third time, and then I will look up the words. Hopefully understand it then more and better. I have now finished the first video, and I watched it 3 times, and in the third round I have written down all the words I didn't know, and sometimes it's really special words like ghost and soul, and also words I would not use in English so often. But yeah, I hope that if I will continue watching the other videos, that it will not take so long and that I don't have to write down so many words. My hope is that I don't have to learn these words really. I just want to keep them in this list, and then if I watch the next video, maybe I remember one of these words. So that's a technique I hope that will work with this comprehensible input. And now my brain is a bit foggy, so I will take the same video and I will take it with my earphones, and I will go on a walk with my dog and we'll just hear it in passive mode. I have now watched this first video multiple times, and I'm at 2.5 hours from my 8 hours. So the second video was so much easier. I don't need to repeat it so often. I knew a lot of the vocabulary. I can show you my vocabulary list. It's so incredible less than before. So this for the second video starts here to here. And for the last video it was so much more. So many words I didn't know in the other video. So in this video I really understand well, and I will continue with the next video. It's exploring a convenience store with Korean dialogue. Finished now the third video, and it was so much easier. I just had to look up, I think, 10 words. Now I have 3.5 hours. I will continue with a few videos from Storytime in Korean, and then I think I have to search for new content. I have now watched a lot of videos from Storytime in Korean and every interesting content I have done. So I try a new channel. It's Taeyong Sam Comprehensible Input in Korean. It's a whole playlist with unpacking comprehensible input with games. So I try this out, how interesting it is, and then I can give you a recommendation. And yeah, if you have a few resources for comprehensible input, especially for Korean, please write down in the comment. It would be so interesting for me because I am always searching for comprehensible input that has my level of understanding. So I would be really, really happy and appreciate it if you write it down in the comments. At the beginning of the first day, I tried to understand every sentence, every word in the Storytime in Korean content. Also, furthermore, the other content from the gaming, unpacking, and etc. The horror game. Horror game was more interesting, I can say. And yeah, I realized it's not so realistic if I want to achieve the 8 hours. And I want to achieve the 8 hours a day so that I can complete my 24 hours. So what I did is 3 things to increase my input. The first thing is that I now listen to podcasts on my walk with my dog. So I cannot read what they say, but I try to listen actively. And I think it's not so efficient like before, but I have the input. And the second is that I now watch a bit more content, like in the moment Diddy's podcast, and it's an interesting topic, but I just want to follow the topic and the context, and I try to follow the story, but I don't want to understand every sentence. And if I see a word that I don't know and I want to know it because I have now heard it multiple times, then I look it up, but I don't look up every word, so that it's more interesting to watch a video if you don't stop every sentence. But I think it's also more efficient to stop every sentence. And the third thing I have done is today in the morning yoga with the Korean yoga teacher on YouTube. All her instructions are in Korean, and I don't understand every sentence, but I understand some things like to lengthen and to go up, to go down, the simple words. And I think it's really something I can mention to you if you want to increase your comprehensible input. If you're doing something like Pilates, yoga, etc., more sports videos on YouTube every day or on a regular basis, then you just can search for creator in your target language, so that you have more comprehensible input, but not so time-consuming watch time. So that's all I have learned until now, and I will now watch further Diddy's podcast and search for more interesting content. If you're also searching for comprehensible input and you're on a beginner stage, I found a channel, it's immersion in Korean, called 모림 한국어, and they have a whole playlist on level A1, A2, and it's really easy to understand, really slow. The vocabulary are really easy. So if you want to have a start resource, I can recommend this resource that I found. I'm now at 12 hours comprehensible input on my second day, and I have found this Soisu's Korean podcast. It's an intermediate level or easy Korean level, and this podcast is really, really nice. I understand a lot of it, and I can recommend it. I will write down every resource I have consumed during this challenge and every comprehensible input resource I can recommend for learning Korean. And in half an hour, a friend of mine will come over and we will watch the K-drama. It's 눈물의 여왕, so Queen of Tears. We want to finish it, and I think I will count this at comprehensible input. I will try. Maybe I will listen a bit more the podcast in the evening, and then it was the second day, and I will have to watch a lot of content tomorrow to reach the 24 hours. Wish me luck, guys. So since yesterday and today I'm searching for YouTubers, content creators who are native Korean and speak in Korean. And in the moment I'm searching a lot for vlogs, or what I found was room tours. And room tours has the advantage that they show a lot and describe a lot, and they understand a bit more. I also watched a video about how to learn English from a native Korean speaker. I understand more than I thought before, but in this content it's so random. Sometimes they have a level that I understand and I'm so, wow, I understand the sentence, and sometimes they are speaking for 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes and I don't understand anything. So it's not really the correct level. So my second thought on this topic is I'm really searching for content creators which make interesting content for me, but in the moment I don't find so many YouTube videos. I think YouTube has not the correct algorithm for me to suggest YouTubers which are native Korean speakers, which topics I'm interested in, and also the correct level of language I need. So my main goal is in language learning to understand K-drama. So maybe I will take this motivation and watch a K-drama and just try it out. I guess the level is too high, but on the other side, maybe it's more interesting, and if I watch it with Korean subtitles, maybe I can focus better on watching the input. We will see. I will try out later. So it's really hard to understand it the first time, but I would understand the sentence if it is more slowly. And I think it's a good exercise with this comprehensible input to have especially this type of sentence. And during I'm watching the K-drama, I think, there are sentences that are too complicated, but for a too complicated sentence you can just go further and watch more. And for a sentence like these, where you think, oh, that's my level, then you can repeat and hear again and try to hear every word and understand every word. And if you miss something, you could also hover with this plugin and see, oh, this word I was missing, or this word I heard often, and then you can remember it better. The third day is now over. I reached my 24 hours of more or less comprehensible input. And now I want to test. If I feel a difference during my test, I will watch the same video from the first day from Minji Teaches Korean, and I will see if I understand a bit more than before. And of course it's the same video. It's maybe a learning effect because of the same video. So I also try a few new real conversation videos from Talk to Me in Korean, and I will see if I then understand a bit better, or if I maybe can understand more words or more context. But it's not a thing that I can measure so well. But I try to measure it with this short test. Last but not least, the conclusion, the subjective result. I'm a bit tired of this comprehensive input, so my English is not so well in this moment, but I try my best. And I didn't do objective study, I didn't do objective research, it's just a feeling. I have 4 points that I recognized. First, I didn't learn any word from context and I didn't learn any grammar point from context. I think maybe because I'm a beginner, and at the beginner state it's really tough to learn a word from context. And I now, if I read an English book and I see a word multiple times and I don't know it in this moment, I can guess the meaning from the context. But in English I'm not so a beginner like Karin. So maybe that is just something that will improve with your level, but I cannot really say that it is like it. I didn't recognize it. But words I knew and grammar points I already have learned in my Talk to Me in Korean lessons, I have recognized during this comprehensive input challenge. I have recognized them in the video, and it was a really enjoyable and nice repetition, and also a random repetition. So I didn't have to go back to my old lectures, to my old lessons and repeat the grammar point. I just have seen it in the real life conversation and then recognized, oh, I have learned this grammar lesson, this grammar point, I know why he say it like this and what is the meaning of this grammar point and why you have to use this. So it's a really, really, really nice way of repetition. And the third point I recognize is that I now understand native speakers more when they speak fast and in a quicker way. So before I needed a really clear voice and a slow talking manner, and now I would say I understand a bit more even if they talk fast. That I would say really increased a lot, but it's a subjective feeling, I have to say. And the last point is that I have the feeling that I hear more words. I can distinguish the words better than before. I mean, if you have tried in your experience to learn a new language that is not so familiar with your native language, then you have maybe also the same feeling at the beginning like me. You hear a native speaker, you hear, and you cannot really say, where are the words? The vocals, the syllables, they are so tangled, and yeah, you cannot really distinguish them. And now I can distinguish more where are the words I know and where are the words I didn't know. So I could also, in the next step, ask for those words. So I think it's a really, really high improvement for just 3 days. What is the point you can take with you after this challenge? I can recommend to you to implement this comprehensible input for your learning routine, and that you find content that is interesting for you and the 70% understandable. It's really, really hard to find this content, but if you find it, implement it in your daily routine. I think it could help a lot with the repetition of the things you already learned actively. So use it as a tool, as an add-on to your learning routine. I really need an explanation of a grammar, and it is helpful to hear a few translations of words and to learn the words and then see them again in the context. So if you liked the video, you know the game. Like button, subscribe button, and if you want more content, on the right or left they will appear. And yeah, if you have any suggestions for me of comprehensible input that is really, really interesting, write it down in the comment. And thank you that you watched until this point, and have a nice day, have a nice week. Bye bye.